Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. Today we'll be exploring the story behind Johannes Vermeer's most famous work, Girl with a Pearl Earring. We're going to try to understand why this painting continues to captivate us centuries after it was created. Yeah, Girl with a Pearl Earring is a really interesting one. Vermeer was painting during the Dutch Golden Age, the 17th century, and it was a really vibrant period. But unlike some of his contemporaries, Vermeer wasn't widely recognized during his lifetime.
It's almost like his work was hidden in plain sight.
It really was. It was only in the 19th century that he was rediscovered. And then his artistry was finally appreciated.
You know, now Girl with the Pearl Earring is practically as famous as the Mona Lisa.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, some people call it the Mona Lisa of the North.
Yeah.
And there's been a best-selling novel and even a movie based on it. It really shows how much this painting has captured the public imagination.
Absolutely. And what's fascinating is that it's not a traditional portrait at all. It's actually what art historians call a trony.
A trony. I've heard that term before, but I'm not entirely sure what it means.
So a trony, it's less about capturing a specific person's likeness and more about exploring, an expression or a character type. And in this case, it's, a young woman with this really striking turban.
Right.
Tronies were pretty popular in Dutch art during this time.
Yeah.
And they gave artists like Vermeer the chance to experiment with, different looks, play with light and shadow.
So if it's not a portrait, then who is this girl? I mean, I'm guessing there are a lot of theories out there.
Oh, tons.
Yeah.
Some people believe that she might have been Vermeer's daughter, Maria, but there's no real evidence to support that. So the truth is, her identity remains a complete mystery.
Oh.
And I think that mystery is a big part of what makes this painting so compelling.
Right, her gaze is so direct.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we know nothing about her. It makes you wonder if Vermeer intentionally created this tension between intimacy and anonymity.
Yeah, that's a great point. And then there are the other symbolic elements of the painting, like that incredible blue and gold turban that she's wearing. It's pretty exotic, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Was that like a typical fashion choice in 17th century Holland? It seems a little out of place to me.
You're right to question that. And this is where understanding the historical context gets really interesting. So the Dutch were major players in global trade during this period. The Dutch East India Company, which was one of the first multinational corporations, was at its peak. And it was bringing back goods and influences from all over the world.
So that turban could be a subtle nod to those far-off lands and the riches that were flowing into the Netherlands at the time.
Exactly, yeah. It adds this layer of complexity to the painting. The girl might not be anyone specific, but she embodies the spirit of a nation that's really engaged with the wider world.
Right.
It makes you think about the stories behind these objects and the materials that were circulating at the time. Think of the pigments that Vermeer used. That vibrant blue in her turban is ultramarine. And it was made from lapis lazuli.
Wow.
And it was incredibly expensive, even more so than gold.
So Vermeer spared no expense when it came to capturing this fleeting moment. I mean, that tells us something about his dedication to his craft and possibly even his social standing to have access to such costly materials.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And then there's the pearl itself.
Right.
Which is practically glowing.
It's enormous.
I have to ask, is it even real? It looks almost too perfect.
Some might say that it's the real star of the show, ready?
Well, some experts believe that it might actually be painted glass. Yeah, I mean, Vermeer was a master of illusion, and it raises this fascinating question about what's real and what's not, both in the painting and in our perceptions.
It's like he's playing with our expectations, right?
Yeah.
We assume it's a pearl, but maybe it's not, and it makes you look at everything else in the painting with fresh eyes.
Exactly, and symbolically, pearls were often associated with purity, wealth, and even perfection. But there's also this delicate, transient quality to a pearl. They don't last forever. So it could be that Vermeer is trying to convey a sense of fleeting beauty, a moment captured in time.
Yeah, it adds another layer of meaning to the whole piece. Okay, so let's step back for a minute and talk a bit more about Vermeer himself. What do we actually know about his life and how he became such a master of his art?
Okay, so we know he was born and died in Delft. That's a city in the Netherlands. And he lived from 1632 to 1675. He specialized in genre paintings. So those are paintings that often depict scenes from everyday life, though always with this incredible attention to detail. And here's something that always surprises people. He only produced a small number of works.
Oh, really?
There are only about 34 authenticated paintings attributed to him.
Only 34. That's incredibly small for an artist of his stature. You'd
Yeah.
expect hundreds.
Yeah, it might seem surprising, but it speaks volumes about his meticulous approach.
Right.
Vermeer was obsessed with capturing light and realism. Some people describe his work as having this photographic quality, almost as if he froze a moment in time. He probably used a camera obscura, which is an early optical device.
Yeah.
It kind of helped him achieve those incredible effects.
So that explains the soft, almost dreamy lighting in Girl with the Pearl Earring.
Yeah.
She seems bathed in this like gentle glow. But it's more than just technical skill, right? He had this incredible ability to capture the essence of a scene, a certain mood.
He wasn't simply replicating what he saw. He was transforming it into something truly special. And that brings us back to the technical aspects of Girl with the Pearl Earring. You see, there's a lot more to this painting than meets the eye. Recent restorations have actually revealed some hidden details that might surprise you.
Okay, now you got me intrigued. What secrets are lurking beneath the surface of this masterpiece? Okay, I'm ready. Tell me more.
Well, researchers discovered that the painting originally had a green background.
A green background.
It might have been a curtain or some kind of drapery.
Yeah.
But it's faded over time. But this discovery, it totally changes our understanding of the composition. You know, like how the girl stands out from her surroundings.
Wow, that really is a game changer. Imagine how different the painting would look with that green background today. It's amazing what modern technology can uncover.
I know, right? And there's more. They also found that she originally had eyelashes.
Eyelashes?
Very fine, subtle eyelashes.
Yeah.
But still, it adds to the realism of her face.
Right.
And makes her seem more relatable, more human.
Yeah, she's not just this idealized figure anymore.
Right.
She's a real person with tiny eyelashes.
Exactly.
And that's incredibly powerful.
It makes you wonder if those eyelashes were always meant to fade away,
Oh, interesting.
leaving only a hint of her humanity behind.
That's such a poetic thought. It's like those fading eyelashes, they symbolize the passage of time itself.
Yeah, maybe Vermeer wanted to show us that beauty, like those eyelashes, is fleeting and precious. Here's another fascinating detail. Vermeer painted directly onto the canvas.
Wait, really?
No underpainting at all.
So no rough sketch underneath?
Nope. Straight to the canvas. And this speaks volumes about his confidence and skill. You know,
Yeah.
He didn't need to map everything out beforehand. He had a vision, and he executed it with precision.
That's the mark of a true master. And speaking of mastery, everyone talks about Vermeer's incredible use of light. It's almost magical. But how did he achieve those luminous effects?
He was an expert at observing light, and he studied how it interacted with different surfaces, how it created shadows and highlights. And it was through that careful observation that he learned to replicate that sense of depth and realism in his paintings. Have you ever heard of the term Vermeerian sfumato?
I have. It sounds like a fancy coffee drink. But seriously, what does it actually mean?
So it refers to how Vermeer blended his colors. There are no harsh outlines, just smooth transitions between tones. Everything seems to melt together. And this technique, it gives his paintings a soft, almost hazy effect, which contributes to their dreamlike quality.
Yeah, it's like you can almost reach out and touch those fabrics, feel the smoothness of her skin. I've always been struck by how he painted that pearl. It's breathtaking.
It's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just a few brushstrokes. And he managed to create this perfect sphere that seems to reflect light from within.
Okay, so we've talked about the technical aspects, the hidden details, the symbolism, even the mystery surrounding the girl's identity. But what do you think it is about Girl with a Pearl Earring that's resonated so deeply with people for centuries?
Well, I think there's something captivating about that enigmatic gaze.
Right.
You know, she looks directly at us, but we know nothing about her.
It's true.
And her silence, it invites us to project our own thoughts and emotions onto her.
It's like she's a blank canvas for our imagination.
Yeah.
A mirror reflecting our own inner thoughts and feelings.
Exactly. And I think the technical brilliance of the painting also plays a huge role. You know, the way Vermeer captures light and texture, that delicate balance of colors, it all draws you in.
Yeah, you can get lost in those details. And let's not forget the cultural impact of Tracy Chevalier's novel and the film adaptation. I mean, they introduced Vermeer and this painting to a whole new audience.
Absolutely. Chevalier's fictionalized account of the painting's creation. It really captured the imagination of so many people.
Mm.
And then the film, starring Scarlett Johansson, really cemented Girl with a Pearl Earring as a pop culture icon.
It's like this chain reaction of fascination sparked by this one incredible painting. But what does this all mean in a broader sense? Why should we care about a work of art that was created over 350 years ago?
Because great art, like this painting, has the power to transcend time and connect with us on a deeper level. It sparks our curiosity, invites us to think critically, and maybe even helps us understand ourselves a little bit better.
It reminds us of the beauty and complexity of the human experience, something that continues to fascinate us regardless of the era.
Exactly. Girl with a Pearl Earring is a perfect example of that enduring power. It's a painting that continues to fascinate, inspire, and provoke conversation. It's a reminder that some mysteries are best left unsolved, and that there's beauty in the unknown.
And that sometimes a single look can speak volumes.
Yeah, it's like he's saying, here's this beautiful, enigmatic image.
Yeah.
Now you go and make your own meaning of it.
Precisely. And I think that's a big part of why this painting has endured for so long. Each viewer, they bring their own experiences, their own interpretations to the canvas.
Yeah, it becomes this dialogue between the viewer and the painting, a conversation that spans centuries.
Exactly.
I remember the first time I saw a Girl with a Pearl Earring in person.
Yeah.
It was at the Mauritius in The Hague.
Oh, nice.
I was completely mesmerized.
There's nothing quite like seeing a masterpiece firsthand, is there? Photos, they can't capture the true essence of a painting like this.
No, you notice details that you never saw before.
Yeah.
The texture of the paint.
The subtle brushstrokes.
Yeah.
It's like stepping into Vermeer's world.
Yeah.
Into the very moment he captured on canvas.
And that direct gaze, it's even more intense in person.
Oh, yeah.
It's like she's looking right through you, seeing something beyond.
It's almost unsettling, but in like a captivating way.
Right.
It makes you question everything you thought you knew about the painting.
And that's the beauty of art, isn't it? It challenges our perceptions, makes us think differently, and maybe even helps us to see the world in a new light.
Well, I think we've given our listeners a pretty good overview of Vermeer and his masterpiece.
Yeah.
But there's always more to learn.
Oh, we've only just scratched the surface. Vermeer's work it's full of fascinating details and layers of meaning.
So what's the takeaway for our listeners? What do we want them to remember about this deep dive?
I think that the main point is that art is a conversation. It's not about finding the right interpretation. It's about engaging with the work, asking questions, and forming your own connections.
And that sometimes the most powerful images are the ones that leave us with more questions than answers.
Absolutely. Girl with a Pearl Earring, it's a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
She invites us to look closer, to think deeper, and to keep searching for meaning in the world around us.
Well said. And on that note, we'll leave you to ponder the mysteries of Girl with a Pearl Earring. We hope you enjoyed this deep dive into Vermeer's world.
And for those who want to explore further, we've included some fantastic resources in the show notes. There's so much more to discover about this enigmatic artist and his enduring legacy.
So keep exploring, keep learning, and until next time, keep those creative sparks flying.